Welcome to Around Town, featuring what's happening in the greater Concord area. I'm your host, Dick Patten. It's a pleasure to welcome you back as we say so long to the month of May and welcome the month of June. And I guess you might say a half a year is almost over with, I guess. And who knows? But I noticed on TV they're already advertising a Lifetime for a week-long. Not Lifetime. Hallmark is already advertising a week long of Christmas movies starting July 1st or something there. So I guess they're already thinking ahead. But anyway, I'm pleased to have with me the Colonel for Fish and Game, Kevin Jordan. And it's nice to say Colonel, but
I guess, yeah.
You enjoying it? You
I do,
be,
yes.
yeah?
This is a great place to work. These are good people to work for, and doing something that you care a lot about, which is all of that is important. So yes, it's still a great job.
Now, Fish and Game, as I said a little bit off camera, they've had a little bit of news this year because of you supposedly raising the rates, or having wanted rates increased and stuff and things, and
yeah.
But you're self-supporting, though, right?
We are. We're one of the last. There's only a couple of state agencies that still support themselves without, and what that means is we draw very little taxpayer money, which is important. It's all done through user fees, licenses, and things like that. So it's critical. It's very similar to running a business, and it's critical to have the ability on occasion. And this had been, I believe, 10 years since we had a raise of fees. It was critical to get that option to raise fees and to be able to cover costs, because fuel has gone up and employment has gone up and benefits and all those other expenses, of course, go up every year, as you know. So you need to bring your rates up or your income up to get somewhere near it so you can make it all work.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
And the other thing the other concern that we've always had is search and rescue. That's funded through. As you know, being a representative, we've come before you many times looking to find a better way to fund that, and because we run a deficit almost annually of $150,000 to $170,000. Those rescues, we do about 180 a year, and that runs averages about $350,000 in expenses, and we're usually short by a couple of thousand based on the income. So last year, the legislature came up with what turned out to be a pretty successful idea, and that was the Hike Safe card that people can purchase. Either a single person can purchase at a fee for $25, or a family can buy one for $35, and that gives them a backup plan for the outdoors, if you will. It exempts them from any liability for billing. It helps to contribute to the search and rescue fund. Last year it generated in excess of $75,000. It's a voluntary card, which is kind of nice, so people don't have to do it. We suggest you do it, and it turns into kind of really an inexpensive insurance card. And this year we've already exceeded $67,000, which is great. So
I thought when you decided to go hiking in the mountains or camping up there or whatever, I thought it was always suggested that you would stop at the ranger station and give them a map or some kind of a paper stating where you were going and the route you were taking.
they do have some sign-in requirements at some of the kiosks for some of the cliff climbing, some of the ledge activities that they do, but it's not widely done. And we're careful about it because you want people to enjoy the freedom to come and go as they please and not to be involved in their personal lives. So we want to give them that freedom, but it is key to at least leave your plan. If you're going to come up and venture into the White Mountains, which we hope they'll do this holiday weekend, it's very important to let someone know where you're going.
Yeah.
Because it cuts down on a lot of time if you're in need of a rescue, and we have a head start on where you're going and what your plan was.
Yeah.
It's a tremendous help for both you, the victim, and me, the person coming after you.
Well,
It shortens up time. And if you're ever in that predicament, on a ledge somewhere waiting for someone to come and rescue you, you're going to be very happy that you provided that information, because that's going to... We've always told people, do not let technology... We have a lot of new technology today, but do not let technology take over or be more important than common sense and experience. Those are the two things that...
there's the words right there. Common sense.
That's right. And experience. Those are the things that will keep you alive. If you rely solely on a cell phone and you get into a place where it's cold and the battery goes dead, or you don't, worse than that, you don't have cell coverage and you have no other plan, it doesn't take very long and you can be in real trouble.
Well,
So,
yeah. I mean, I know myself when I grew up, like, up in the northern country there. I can remember once you get past Lancaster, there was not much cell service to begin
Not
with.
much, no, and it varies even in the mountains. You would think on some of those peaks above tree line, you know, at above 4,000 feet, that you would have cell coverage, but you don't always have that.
No.
So, it's better today than it's been in years, but there's still places where you're not going to have that coverage.
Yeah.
And so you need to have some extra equipment, lights, stay together as a group. Those are, we recommend that people go to our website, hikesave.com. We've got all the 10 essential items you should put in a backpack. It's pretty light, really. And it's the kind of material, maps, compasses, some kind of lighter or matches, but a light to get you out, even though you're not planning on being there after dark. Those are things that will be essential if you get yourself into trouble.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, the other thing is, too, it used to be if you camped overnight up in there, didn't they used to suggest you tie your food in a sack or something and
They
tie it
did.
up in the
To keep it away from the
the
animals.
bears and stuff?
Yeah. That's not a huge problem, but you could lose your food if you're going to spend a couple of days there. If you're going to camp in the wilderness, the possibility exists that an animal will come in and take your food, and it would certainly ruin your trip or shorten it.
Mm.
So we do recommend that you do a little research. The Forest Service has some great information. We do, Fish and Game does, to avoid those conflicts, so that you can have a safe time and be problem free. We have some beautiful as you know, we have some beautiful scenery, some gorgeous trails, some of the best in New England. New Hampshire is admired from afar, and so we want people to come up and enjoy all of those resources, but at the end of the holiday weekend, we want them to be able to go home safely and without injury, and that's the way that you do that. So.
Oh, yeah, sure. But what's scary is it's so easy to get off track up in there or something, because what we had there was one involving a Boy Scout, wasn't it?
We've had several. We had a young Boy Scout
something?
that summited Mount Washington and took a unbelievable hike for 3 days before we were finally able to catch up with him and bring him down. We've had a number of those. And then you have small children that run off every now and then, that don't run up trails but get lost down in the lower part of the state, and older people with dementia, that get out. So there's a number of challenges, and it seems to grow every year.
Yeah.
As I said, we average 180 a year, but each year it seems to climb. So there's no shortage of it, that's for sure.
No, I know, and I just, and given the weather too, I mean, you don't know how fast this weather change. I mean, I've always heard going through the notch was always you could go into the notch with the sunshine on this side, get in the notch, it could be snowing, it could be raining, whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
Come out of the notch and hit the sun again.
Even today, today it's in the 80s, but if you go above tree line, you go above 5,000 feet, 4,000 feet, and there's a good wind blowing, you've gotten wet going up because you've perspired or you've hit some foul weather, you can die of exposure. And it'll happen in July just as seriously as it will in December. So people need to realize that's a different world. It really is above tree line, and you need to be prepared. It can be easily done if you're prepared and have the equipment, the appropriate equipment. If you don't have that, it can be very dangerous. And so we worry on holiday weekends when a lot of people are coming to the state. We want to make sure to get the message out that, just stop and think about where you're going and how long you're going to be there and what you might need and take advantage of the ample information that's out there to keep you safe. So. People on the water wearing life preservers and personal flotation devices, those are the kinds of things that we want to see people do so that they go home safe.
Now, I was reading something on the news this morning, I think, something about the ATV vehicles or something on the trails or something up north this week.
They just opened up the trail system in the northern part of the state. The opening date is normally around the 23rd of May. It's always weather dependent, but they just opened those systems up. And that's something else that's grown in the state in popularity. People come from all over.
Yeah.
They have a very elaborate trail system in the North Country, and that's expanding throughout the state. You're going to see that go throughout the state. It's great for the economy. People are coming up, they're buying food and fuel to ride on these trail systems. They're wonderful trail systems that get you into some of the back country, and it offers the opportunity for people who might not be able to get that far back because they're older or their health isn't as good. it provides them with the same opportunities as it does a young, healthy
Sure.
guy in good shape. So, it's a neat thing. It's a good thing for the state.
Summertime worse for you than wintertime, or what?
It's busier. Yes, it's busier. The fall is the busiest because you have the foliage season, you have all the hunting seasons that we
Yeah.
monitor.
Yeah.
But summer is busy. Summer, New Hampshire gets a lot of summertime people that visit it, and that generates a lot of opportunity and business for all of us that are in law enforcement in a variety of ways. Not all
Yeah.
negative ways. Some of it's really positive, but it does. A lot of these towns, as you know, grow in population numbers in the summer.
I know it.
So people come up here to take advantage of what I think is the finest state in New England, and that's smart on their part. I think
Sure.
it's well worth their time. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So it stays pretty busy year round, but the summer months are very busy. Yes, starting this weekend usually.
Really? Yeah. The unofficial start is something they
That's
call
right.
it.
Yep.
The of course now turkey season's all is that done now?
Just ended. Excuse
ended?
me. Will end on Tuesday. That's a
Okay.
little bit long, but Tuesday is the last day.
And that's
That's been a knock on wood. That's been a very good season. Very
Has it?
safe. Yeah, very safe. We have an abundance of turkeys. Though they have come back into the state. We've done exceeded all of our expectations, and the biologists that have worked hard to create that influx of turkeys deserve a lot of credit because it's
Ted Walsky.
Yeah, Ted has led that charge, and
Yeah.
he's a turkey he runs a turkey project out of the Keene office, and he's done a tremendous job. There from Pittsburgh to Salem, you'll find turkeys now.
Oh, I know.
They're all over.
So even with this hunting season, there's still abundance of turkeys.
Oh yeah,
out
that
there.
hasn't affected the population. Ted and his team, all of the biologists at Fish and Game monitor that very closely so that these hunting seasons do not affect populations, and they don't hesitate to stop it or slow it down if in fact it does that. But turkeys are, I don't think we'll ever have a problem with turkeys, Dick. They've come back tenfold from where they used to be, which is good. It's really good.
Oh yeah.
For people to see, and it's neat to bring an animal back that had vanished from the state. Moose and turkey both are rebounded very well, so that's a good thing.
They couldn't seem to get the caribou though.
Couldn't,
back years
and
ago.
it was here.
Yeah,
they were here.
they
but,
couldn't-
yeah,
couldn't
a lot has changed. I think the terrain makes a big difference in the fact that we, whether we like it or not, New Hampshire's growing. These towns and cities are growing, and we're cutting in on more and more habitat. So it's hard to get animals and have them sustain themselves. So,
Yeah.
but caribou we had here. Not many people know that, but many years ago we had caribou in the state.
Well, I remember they imported a dozen of them
They
in or
did.
something from New York or
Trying-
whatever, and
trying
they
to bring 'em
didn't,
back. Yeah, it
Didn't
take
work
place.
out.
No, it never did. And they put a lot of effort and money in that for a couple of years, but it never panned out. It was too bad.
I know it because it's just another wildlife as you would think
Sure.
up there in the mountains. But
Sure.
and then of course the big one this year we heard a lot about, and I guess it's been quieted down. The bobcat.
Yes. Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
is there going to be a hunting season?
No.
Or no.
No.
So that's been
No, they've decided that they, being the commission, has finally, I think, made a good decision in that the general public really didn't want to see it back. I will tell you, quite frankly, the science behind it, which we heard very little about, but the science behind the number of bobcats that we have in the state would actually surprise most people. We have an abundance population. The hunt would not have had a negative effect on that. But people weren't ready for that. It was an animal that you didn't eat.
Yeah.
So people struggled with why folks would want to trap them or to hunt them.
Yeah.
A lot of our neighboring states do it. That was some of the reasoning that they used. But at the end of the day, after many public hearings and a lot of public input, they made the decision to, which I think was a good one because people didn't want it,
Well,
to back away from it. So
Yeah.
there won't be a hunting season for bobcat. We're going to continue to manage them like we have been, and to try and maintain good, healthy populations. They're a very timid animal, so you don't see them a lot around. People don't see them a great deal. Even people that are out in the woods. Me being in the woods for many years, I didn't see a lot of them. But the last few years, we started to see them, and you'd see them late in the winter when they were struggling for food.
Yeah.
Late in the winter season is when we had issues with them. So, but there's plenty of them here, and the population will only grow. So, but no, they will never be hunting them.
but they're a dangerous animal, aren't they?
They can be if any animal can be pretty aggressive if they feel threatened,
Yeah.
if they become fearful, or you trap them or corner them or make them feel that they are trapped or cornered. Most of the animals in the state, including bear, don't want a confrontation. They're as afraid of us as we are of them.
Really?
They will fight back, though, to defend themselves or in a moment of fear to get away from someone. So defensively, they can do things that will injure people. No, we get concerned about some of that, but they're not. Thankfully, we don't have the grizzly population here. We don't have a population of animals here that would prey on humans, which is good. So,
Oh yeah, I know. Gee.
that in the states that have that, with grizzlies and mountain lions and things like that, your behavior has to change in the backcountry because you can get yourself into a lot of trouble.
Well, yeah,
You know?
obviously because the bear, especially. But
Yeah,
but I know the bobcat. There was a big thing going on about that, and
Oh, yeah.
we've always had them as animals. But it's like, oh,
yeah.
I just
It was a very controversial issue, and because it was again, it was an animal that people were very passionate about and not afraid to voice their opinion, and that's why we have public hearings, as far as I'm concerned, is so that you can garner that, and then I think you have to respect their opinion, and you have to move in that direction. The majority should rule, and they did in this case,
yeah,
which was
Yeah.
good. So,
because it was quite the thing.
oh yeah, it was very very controversial.
And now you're the fishing game offices too now in the north, especially. I don't know if it's just the northern sector or if it's the whole state, but you can clarify that for me.
Sure.
They can now actually do a stop and arrest people, right?
They could always
Traffic checks or
They
whatever.
could always do that, but now they can enforce motor vehicle laws. We had an issue for a number of years where if we came across a person who was under the influence driving a car, we didn't have the authority through New Hampshire statutes to address that. That was a big problem because you essentially, as a certified police officer, you would find someone who shouldn't be driving. They were impaired and a danger to the general public, and you were powerless to do anything about that. So. The legislature, we brought this issue before the legislature explained our position, and they decided to grant us the authorities to do that, so we can now enforce. And again, the game wardens aren't out running radar or doing speeding stops, but if they come across something that's dangerous on our highways, they're free to address it just as a trooper or a local police officer is, which only makes good sense. So
I know.
it's another set of eyes on the highway to keep our citizens safe, and even though it isn't done a whole lot by my officers because they're busy doing what they're charged to do, it's a tool in the tool bag if you run across someone that should be taken off the highway.
Well, yeah, because I mean, even up in the northern sector, I mean, still they're short-handed. Some of the towns up there.
Yeah, exactly. Some towns have part-time police officers, one or two,
Yeah.
and so there are days when game wardens in some of those northern communities are the only officer of the law on duty.
Yeah.
So it's key to have the abilities and powers to do their job. So, so that was a big hurdle. But again, explaining it to the legislature, and after a bit of a battle, we were able to convince them it would be safe, and they granted us the authority to do it. So it was a good outcome in the end. Very good.
Oh, that's good because I'll tell you. I was reading too the other day. You folks are also down active in the seacoast.
Very, yep.
And I remember the year I was on that committee. I was surprised. I never knew that the fishing game also had to go out into the ocean
They do.
to
They do
do
all the coastal
enforcement
work.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're sworn in as federal wardens, so they go out into 3 miles out as federal waters. And again, we've been provided with the opportunity to go out there and enforce federal fishing regulations because the government, like everybody else, is short people.
Yeah.
So it's an extra pair of, or actually more than a pair, but it's extra officers out there enforcing the fishing regulations and maintaining those seacoast resources, lobster and haddock, and some of the resources that are important to the state. We have an 8-mile coastline, but it's very busy. It's very busy. There's a lot of commercial
Really?
activity out there. There's a lot of recreational fishing that goes on, and the coastal guys are busy year-round. They're out on boats year-round. So the other exciting thing that you're going to see more, or people are going to see more of, is the TV. I don't know if you've ever seen Northwood's Law, which was on Animal Planet. It was a television reality show about the Maine Warden Service, our counterparts in Maine, but that has come to New Hampshire. The crews are filming as we speak. They began last week. They'll be filming all summer long. They're riding around with different wardens throughout the state, and they're going to air shows starting in the fall on Animal Planet. They bought a series of 6 different episodes that they're going to start with, and hopefully that will grow. But it'll be a good opportunity for people to, first of all, the show has been very popular, Northwoods Law. We're hopeful that New Hampshire will be able to fill that same void or that same role. It'll be a great opportunity for people to see what these guys do and how they do it. And I think folks are going to learn a lot. I think these guys are doing a lot like coastal activity and a lot of the search and rescue tasks that people aren't aware of. So I'm kind of excited about it. We'll see how it works.
So the lobster industry, I mean, the lobster population down now?
No, the lobster population is very good. It's very healthy. All along the East Coast. The limits have been lifted a couple of times. No, that's done very well. But again, that's an industry that's been closely monitored so that it stays in good, healthy shape. And they've done that successfully, and it's gone very well. So,
boy, the prices though, like for the
they are
clams
high.
And the scallops,
they are high. Like anything else today, the prices continue to go up, and that's no different. That's no different. But it's very, as you know, it's very popular with the local restaurants down there. The sales, retail sales are very good. They have a lot of traveling sales. These licensed individuals with retail licenses have trucks, refrigerator trucks, and bring them all over New England to sell them. And this is, they begin on Memorial Day weekend. The popularity grows, and it'll go through the summer into early fall. So, but no, the populations are very healthy.
Well, that's good then. I enjoy lobster, but
But
I also know too, the clams and the scallops are right up there.
Oh yeah, they are. Yes, they are. Yeah, and people love them. That's something that's kind of a neat thing in New Hampshire. You have everything from, the summit of Mount Washington to lobsters on the coast. It's a huge variety that New Hampshire offers.
Yeah,
so
of course. Yeah.
It's kind of neat to live in a state where you can do all of that.
Now, if I remember right, Kevin, you've been busy too because you just got done chairing the coordinating the law enforcement again.
We did. We just had the service. The 24th annual service was last Friday, and that went off. That was a big hit. That's a popular event where we put this on for the survivors, family members, and survivors of the memorial, where we recognize the 48 heroes that are indicated on the wall or engraved in the wall. This year we added a new name. A Cheshire County Sheriff by the name of Deputy John Walker, Sr., was killed in 1888, I believe it was. And we just completed some research based on some efforts out of the Cheshire County Sheriff's Department. And so he now, we have discovered, was the first officer killed in the line of duty. Really? He died as a result of a very violent attack, physical attack during a domestic disturbance. And so his name will be added this year, and he's the 48th officer to be on the wall. And but we just, like I said, we just completed that event. Next year will be the 25th.
Really?
Yeah. So it doesn't seem possible, but it is.
Do you think you'll expand the activity for the day more, like maybe a parade?
We may. I don't know if we'll do a parade. We're meeting and discussing a couple of different ideas. We're talking about maybe a candlelight vigil next year prior to the event. Maybe a little expanded event. So we haven't really decided what we're going to do, but it's definitely going to be a little bit different next year because it is the 25th. So we're looking forward to that happening. Yeah.
How did you get into that? I mean, I know. Oh boy, I can see him too.
Tim Acerno.
That's right.
Yes.
Tim Acerno was involved with that.
He was. I was in a shooting in 1997.
Really?
Yeah, a pretty violent one up in Colebrook, where I was living at the time. When Carl Drager,
I remember that.
In that. Yeah, and two very good friends of mine were killed that day. Scott Phillips and Les Lord.
Yeah.
And Vicky Bunnell, the judge, was a good friend of mine. And so, honoring the fallen officer, and since then, Sergeant Noyes of New Hampshire State Police, Buster Brooks, who was the chief in Antrim.
Yeah.
There are a number of officers that are now on the wall, and a lot of guys like myself that have got a few years on. Of course, we knew these officers, and so it became very important to me to maintain and honor their memories.
Sure.
So when Major Acerno, who worked for New Hampshire Fish and Game, he had a brother-in-law that was lost. It was a state trooper who suffered loss of life. Tommy Parker is on that wall. Trooper Parker, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so he became involved in it, and he ran it for a number of years and then asked me to take it over when he was about to retire. So I stepped up, and I was thrilled to do it because it meant a great deal to me, and so I've been doing it ever since. But we have we have a committee of 10 people really that work very hard every year. We're going to begin next month to plan for the next year's service. So it begins a year out. As you know, you do some things like that in Concord for the citizens of Concord, the parade up here, the Christmas parade. I know you plan that all year.
Yeah.
So to pull off an event like that, of that magnitude, you have to have good people and a lot of planning to make it happen. So we're already working on that now for next year. So
I know people don't believe it.
they don't realize that it takes that kind of work.
It takes a lot of time to
You
do
bet.
that. So
Yeah, and it's not all smooth sailing, as you know. There's a lot of challenges that come up that you have to overcome to make it happen, and God bless the people that are willing to do that, because you have some great events because of it. So,
yeah.
and your parade, I've seen it. It is wonderful. You do a great job with that. So,
Well, try hard, but I'll tell you the expense of the bands and things to have in it.
oh yes.
Now you had what, Londonderry up here again?
We have the nationally acclaimed Londonderry marching lancers that come. The governor speaks. She gives a welcome address. With Senator Ayotte there, Senator Sheen came. We had the keynote speaker was the new U.S. attorney, the 56th U.S. attorney for the District of New Hampshire, and that's Ian Marx. So we had a lot of dignitaries there. The Attorney General read the Roll of Honor.
Really?
And it's a planned event that goes pretty much the same each year. We have a couple of people singing, and we have the law enforcement pipes and drums band comes up, which are amazing if you've never seen them. And then we have a big luncheon at the end of it, so that everyone can get together and kind of network and enjoy a peaceful afternoon. So it's a nice event. It's a nice family event, and everyone enjoys it. Yeah.
That's good though. But it sounds like you've got a real busy year.
Yeah,
It's
it
been
is
going
busy.
on the first 6 months, and now it still continues on, even in the summertime when we're
Yeah.
out of session.
Yeah, we still charge on. Yeah.
So what's coming up now in the next few months? Because obviously the fall season will be here before you know it. That's the
It
hunting
will.
season for
Yep.
deer and all that.
Deer and bear and moose. They'll have the moose lottery, which is a really popular event next month, where they draw the lucky winners of who's going to hunt moose this year. They've reduced those numbers because our moose population has dropped a little, and that's an example of where the biologists adjust the hunt
Yeah.
so that we don't lose them. But that
Sure.
takes place in June at Fish and Game headquarters. We had our Discover Wild New Hampshire Day, which is growing in size and popularity every year. We just finished that in April. But all of our hunting seasons will begin. We'll get through the summer, the fishing and ATV riding and activity and search and rescue, and then we'll get into about September. We start in our hunting seasons, and that goes right through Christmas. So it's just there's never a dull moment.
Dull moment,
No, there
yeah.
isn't. No, it's a very busy time of year, and it's good. It keeps everybody busy, and it's a lot of activity. It brings a lot. It helps the economy in the state, so it's all good.
And don't forget, I'll need a nominee for the Fishing Game Officer of the Year
Yes.
for the State Grange this
And
year,
we'll get
so-
you that. Yep, that's
Yeah.
always, you always take very good care of those officers at the Grange. It's always a great event, so.
Yeah, it is. So, well, Colonel, we've been coming to the end of the show, but we're
Okay,
so happy you came in
Well, thanks for having
and
me.
had a chance to talk to you and bring us up to date what's going on with the fishing game and keep us always anytime. I enjoy having you folks come in.
I like coming in. It's always a friendly
Talk
show to
about
go,
it.
so.
Yeah, well, hey,
Right.
so anytime you want to find out more about what's happening around the greater Concord area and watch more episodes, go to facebook.com/Concord Speaks and click on the like button. And with that in mind, I'm your host, Dick Patten. And many thanks to my director, my valuable director, Ian Marx, who's done all of this. I mean, he has been marvelous getting this on YouTube. So you
Perfect.
can see it on YouTube as well as on
Perfect.
CCTV, Channel 22, of course. But I'll tell you, it's nice to have somebody who knows what they're doing with technology. I don't know, and man, I don't know anything with
Yeah,
this stuff.
it is a blessing.
But I'll tell you,
is a
he has
blessing.
worked very hard on all this stuff.
That's good.
So.
That's what you need.
So with that in mind, I'm your host, Dick Patten, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great weekend. I'm Dick Patten, your host.